Sit back, relax, and enjoy our featured presentation, followed by a short lesson and assignment. You will need approximately 10 minutes to view it all. And now, The King and the Farmer. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, lived two boys who were the best of friends, even though each was destined for very different futures. One boy was the son of a farmer, and the other the son of a king. The future mattered not for the boys, as they spent their childhood roaming the countryside and the forest, having all sorts of adventures. One particular day they had wandered far beyond what was familiar. The would-be king was beginning to worry as he declared, "We're lost. How will we ever get back? We're stuck out here on this rock." To which the farmer boy replied in the way he always did, "This is a good thing, you can be sure, my friend." "You always say so, but I don't see how." Just then the fog lifted, and the farmer boy exclaimed, "The road home! I see it there below. Can you see it?" The boys began their long journey back. While the would-be king normally enjoyed the farmer boy's optimism and good spirits, after this exhausting journey he focused one foot in front of the other and dreamed of quieting his stomach with a feast that would be awaiting him at the castle. The would-be king heard a howl of excitement from behind him, and can you believe his farmer friend's good fortune? He found a chest of treasures that must have fallen loose from a passing wagon. The would-be king was swept away by the joy of the moment and completely forgot about all the complaints that had only moments before plagued him. The rest of the journey home flew by in an instant. As the boys grew into men, they continued their many adventures together. One day, while hunting in the forest, they raised their gun to shoot at a turkey through the trees. And suddenly there was a loud explosion, as the king's gun backfired and shot off his thumb. The king was in excruciating pain, and the farmer and the king's guard were frozen in shock for a moment, until the farmer shouted, "It's going to be okay, King. This is a good thing." "How dare you? Can't you see I've lost my thumb, you idiot? There's nothing good about this. You are a fool, and I am finished with you." And the king demanded his guards take his friend and lock him up in the deepest, darkest cell in his dungeon. Nearly a year had passed with the poor farmer locked up in a dungeon deep below the castle floor. The king continued his hunts and adventures, and some days he missed the companionship of his old friend, but he still could not forgive him. As he was lost in thought, remembering that fateful day, the king wandered away from the protection of his guards. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he was surrounded by a band of cannibals. They quickly bound the king and stole him away, taking him back to their village deep within the forest. The cannibals celebrated and praised their gods at having provided such a bountiful feast as this. Then, suddenly, a cannibal woman screamed in terror upon seeing the deformed hand of the king. "He has only 4 fingers on his hand. This is very bad luck indeed. Release him before he brings a curse upon our tribe." The king ran quite literally for his life. So many thoughts and emotions, relief, gratitude, and deep sorrow for what he had done to his friend. He ran as quickly as he could and went directly to the deepest, darkest corner of the dungeon where his dear friend lay in a cell. "How can you ever forgive me, dear friend? I'm so very sorry. You were right, once again. I was stolen in the forest by a tribe of cannibals who were about to roast me on a huge fiery spit. You see, they're very superstitious people and only consume bodies that are whole. They did not eat me because at the very last moment they saw my missing thumb. You were right. It was a very good thing. It saved my life. Please, dear friend, can you ever forgive me?" "Of course," said the farmer in a weak, dry voice. "It was a very good thing that you locked me up here, King." To which the king responded, bewildered, "How can this be? Look at you, your skin and bones, you're barely alive." "Had you not placed me here in this dungeon, sire, I would have been there with you in those woods." For our purposes, today's story points to the importance of perspective, which is one of the key pillars to creating extraordinary partnership in our work life and in our everyday life. Our perspective is determined by the story that our brain makes up, based on past experiences that may be similar to the sensory information perceived about the object, situation, or person before us. When we allow our first brain, the amygdala, sometimes referred to as the primal, survival, caveman, cavewoman brain, the me, reactive brain, when we allow this part of our brain to process the incoming information, we are severely limited to believing that our perception is the truth. Therefore, we are right, and anyone who differs in opinion is clearly wrong. Notice when you are feeling this way, you may become aware of carrying tension somewhere in your body. It's a good sign that you're using your reactive brain. If we are willing and open to it, we might choose to recognize that someone else may be experiencing the exact same thing we are, only differently. When we do that, we've now empowered our body and brain's ability to process, interpret, and respond in a greatly expanded way by shifting from our reactive brain into our responsive brain, the prefrontal cortex, sometimes referred to as the aftermarket, upgraded, slow, contemplative, logical we brain. You may notice a sense of ease and spaciousness, and you may experience feelings of curiosity, compassion, and care. The quality of our attention is what determines the quality of our life experiences. If we are sloppy or lazy with the thoughts we choose to think, or our thoughts happen in reaction to what happens to us, then the area of the brain that is most active is our survival brain, which completely limits the amount of space and time available to observe, reflect, consider, and create possible solutions. But it does keep us in a ready and anxious state to defend ourselves from a tiger attack, and that's important too. In the moment we recognize the tension, resistance, anxiety, and irritation that come from our survival brain, we can in that instant take a breath and open to the higher cognitive functioning of our prefrontal cortex. That powerful choice just made us 31% smarter. How cool is that? Your 4-part assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to do the heavy lifting to build and strengthen that neural pathway to your prefrontal cortex and increase the speed with which you can divert a reaction and create a response. This practice will not only make you smarter, it will increase your creativity, your productivity, it will skyrocket your emotional intelligence and increase your likability, which helps to build empathy and trust with others. Part 1. For the next 24 hours, turn up the volume on any and all of your complaints. In your notebook or journal, make 3 columns and write your complaints in the first column. This is an important list and we will come back to it in other lessons. Part 2. Notice any body sensations that may accompany the complaint. Write them down in column 2. Part 3. Ask your brain the question, I wonder if my brain can show me another perspective here. But do not actively try to answer the question. Just let it go. You've given your brain an assignment, and you might be surprised by what it tells you. Write this down in the 3rd column or in your journal if you need more space to record your insights. Part 4. Enthusiastically thank your brain for making you aware of your complaints and showing you any new perspectives. Our brains, like everyone else, respond well to acknowledgement and appreciation and will continue to pave this neural pathway to allow your ability to shift to become effortless.